It's backdoor cut.
Yeah. Back for another week. My name is Josh DiMatteo, here with the really hot and can't turn his fan on, Jake Eisenberg.
Yeah, mate, I'm toasty today. I've been relegated to the different room, and I am. Josh made me turn the fan off because it was creating a light buzz. So to all you listeners out there, you're welcome.
This is for you.
Yeah, going through it today.
And mullet enthusiast, Matt Beatty.
Mullet enthusiast. I don't think we have any NBA mullets. I don't think it transcends over there.
It's not more really... of a it happens in football a little bit, but it's definitely seems to be more of a rugby.
Yeah,
maybe it'll take like a Steven Adams to break one out, and then
that would be good.
Maybe Joe Ingles, especially with the big handlebars too.
Yeah, no, he could absolutely rock it. I saw a disgusting mullet yesterday walking down the beach. This dude just had very long, thin hair, just like a square in the back of his head down to his like shoulders, and then a shaved head outside of that. It was that's Maroubra, baby.
Shaved head, mullet bearing NBA fan. If you're listening to this, say hey to Jake next time.
Yeah, that's right.
We've really cornered that niche, haven't we?
I think so.
All right, Jake. Let's get stuck straight in. What's first cab off the rank today?
Well, we were going to do an entire episode without mentioning a single Western Conference team, but, we were a little bit in awe of the Jazz just having solidified themselves at the top of the NBA and how they don't really have an MVP candidate, or at least they don't have one in the conversation or in the betting market. And would Rudy Gobert actually be in that conversation? Granted, he's likely going to win Defensive Player of the Year and seems to kind of be the central force in a lot of these Jazz dominating performances. And I think there's just, no reason for him to be in the conversation, even though it's weird the Jazz don't have anybody in that conversation. I think it's just an Atlanta Hawks type thing. Like, there was no one from that team that was in the MVP race from memory.
True.
Yeah.
It's a funny one.
I hate that 2016 Hawks comparison. I
know.
I think you just hate that team.
Yeah, I do hate that team. I know. I mean, I know that you're the Al Horford apologist down there, Josh. I know that you love
no
that.
apologies. He's great.
I mean, Jake's just had half a season of Jeff Teague, and he wanted to shoot his brains out already.
Oh my god!
So, I mean, obviously we're a few years down the track, so I can't be too harsh on Jeff. But I mean, obviously this Utah team's a completely different kettle of fish to what that Atlanta team is. But yeah, that point is common in that they didn't really have a central. I mean, obviously it's a Donovan Gobert sort of 1-2 punch, right? But then the supporting cast kind of lifts that team up. It's sort of an interesting dynamic between, like, if you did have to pick a best player on that team, who is it? And is it Rudy or is it Donovan? And which player has more impact and how you measure that? Like, I don't know. I think, I mean, if I had to pick between those two, I probably lean towards Gobert, but it's really hard because, like, we were just talking off air, like, Gobert's a dude that can barely dribble the ball and can't shoot outside of 6 feet. And, like, we're talking about giving him, the highest, most prestigious individual award in basketball. So it's very hard to, like, connect the dots there.
Yeah. It's a funny one, though, because he is so immeasurably valuable. Like, if you took him off this team, there is not a chance in hell they'd be 4 games up in the first seed in the Western Conference. That's ridiculous. Like, say you put him on, I don't know, one of the lower seed, even the Blazers. Say you put him on the Blazers, right? Would the Blazers not be the top-ranked team in the West easily?
He does massively raise your floor.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, well, this is my thing. Like, he's not flashy. You're right. He can't shoot outside of 6-7 feet, can't dribble the ball. But the things he can do pretty much better than anyone in the world. So it's a hard argument to exclude him from this award. But at the same time, how do you include him when there's other guys who do everything and they make it look so good? And James Harden can get you anything, and Jokic can get you anything. It's like, how can you then give this guy that can't dribble votes in the award, even though he's still so valuable? We do this every year. They need to define what most valuable player means.
It's subjective. They're always going to, and it's more fun that way anyway, Because if it was up to just specifically the numbers and the analytics, Gobert would be, in the conversation then. Because how many Utah Jazz fans on Twitter are going to tweet about the screen assists and the VORP and the defensive win shares and all that crap. And I'm definitely the lowest on Gobert out of all of us here. And I know every regular season he's going to win his third fucking Defensive Player of the Year award this year. But is he, if you replace him with Clint Capella, how much worse is the Jazz this year?
It's a tricky one. Yeah, I think they are, but it's sort of one of those things where you really. I mean, how do you prove it? You can't. I mean, I think a lot of the numbers and the advanced statistics about defense are also just very wishy-washy as well.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to sort of really nail down just how sort of effective those numbers are in capturing that. And I think in particular, I mean, Daryl Morey himself is like the king of analytics. Daryl Morey is like kind of come out with that. So it's sort of like it's. I mean, I don't want to delve into this Ben Simmons, Rudy Gobert. Debate again, but it's sort of like defense is just still very hard to quantify, I suppose, in the NBA, and that's where it becomes a lot more about watching clips of Rudy Gobert taking up the whole paint and guys looking to drive in and then being dissuaded from doing that, blah 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 blah. So I don't know, it's very hard to sort of to quantify it, and a lot of it is eye test, and a lot of it is just a general feel, but. I mean, I think the Jazz would be incredibly worse off if there's no like for like. I think I mean, he's one of the best defensive players in the league. When you hear that kicking off,
I hear that kicking up.
There's a.
He must be in the race.
I don't know what's going on.
Listeners at home, Beatty's roommate's brother, bit of family lineage here. Beatty's roommate's brother is running in the Sawtell, what is it? Sawtell yearly running race?
The Sawtell Gift. Yeah.
So the Sawtell Gift. Multiple of Aussies might know.
I think this is a 400 meter. And I'm not sure.
It's a rough race.
He must have done it all right. Or at least Bill maybe was just riding him home. He could have been running last. But
it could have been the start. Who knows?
Yeah. But back to Gobert, I think if you were to replace him with someone like Capella, I think you would see his value then. And if you use, I'm going to use Derrick Rose's MVP season as the example here. He obviously went off, young player, no one saw it coming, dragged the Bulls all the way up, but then he got injured. And there was a period where he was injured for maybe a month. And in that time, the Bulls were significantly worse.
Right.
Maybe it takes something like that where Gobert just misses a bit of time and the Jazz struggle mightily without him to show how much value he has.
At the same time, though, right, I think they have a very capable backup in Derek Favors. I think Derek Favors is arguably the best, bench center, backup center in the league as well. So it's I don't know. This is where it probably the argument goes a little bit against Gobert because I actually just don't know how much that drop off. I mean, we wouldn't know until we saw it, obviously. And then in a way, you can even make that another plus for Gobert in that he's pretty durable and he doesn't really miss games. I just struggle with that fact that he's a guy who is a big. I don't want to say clumsy, but he's a big oaf of a center who can't really get the ball and can't get his own shot, and then you're going to call that guy the best player in basketball. That's tough. But then you look at Donovan, and Donovan is still this kind of guy who is kind of working it. He's still kind of almost Jamal Murray tier, I suppose. I don't know. I like Donovan, and maybe I'm higher on Donovan than you guys, but I can still say that he's he's not top echelon sort of a superstar just yet. So it's that Utah thing is definitely a by committee. You'll have nights where Clarkson goes off, or Ingles, or whoever it is. So Conley, yeah. So it's
Mitchell's having a fucking ripper season though. I think without him, they just don't have that dynamic, explosive element to their team. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too jaded from all the playoff stuff with Gobert, where I just don't think that when we get to the playoffs that he's the right guy, which shouldn't matter, I guess, in an MVP discussion. But I guess when it comes down to it, no one's given the MVP to a guy like Gobert, and it's never happened before. I know Josh, you were saying the old school guys, but even the old school, like Hakeem Olajuwon was a wizard in the post and in the mid range. Tim Duncan, offensively, he's not the most creative guy, but you can chuck it down to him on the low post and he's getting stuff
and he
done.
would do something. He would make a play. Yeah,
Gobert on the low post is fucking shit.
They just don't run it full stop because you can't really. And then the other thing as well, like you only got to look at the MVP race or the betting market at least this year, right? And it's Jokic and Embiid, and those two guys are, I think. I mean, you boys tell us, but I think we both have both of those guys ahead of Rudy Gobert.
Oh yeah,
if we were ranking them, so it's
could be Bam too. I don't have Bam.
I mean, Josh is Bam's biggest fan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't vote for him this year, but yes, I do hear your point.
I mean, Time Lord, then Gobert, maybe.
Time Lord, maybe. All right. Well, I'm going to move into something new now. So to summarize, quick answer, one word even. If you were to vote today, would anyone from the Jazz, including Rudy Gobert, make your ballot?
So top 5?
Is that how it goes, or is it top 3?
No, it's 5.
Okay, top 5.
No, from me, no.
Okay. Yeah, no, I got Lillard, LeBron, Embiid, Jokic, Harden.
You don't even have Giannis.
I forgot about Giannis.
So
probably have to take out LeBron now and put Giannis in just because of the minutes.
The game's missed, yeah. But yeah, either way, it's pretty telling. It's a good game there, Josh. You come up with that on the fly. I like that.
Okay, well, Jazz fans, if you're listening, Jazz fans, should I say, can't say we don't talk about your team. Hey,
yeah,
giving them a lot of praise there. Moving on to another MVP candidate who's very skilled, extremely big, and just came back, Joel Embiid. Is he going to make an impact for the Sixers now where they shoot up the standings?
Well, they're already at the top of the standings. So
are they first?
Yeah.
I think they're tied first,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
My mistake.
Yes, I think having an MVP candidate back will make an impact. But, interestingly, you talked about Rudy Gobert being super durable. This is the question.
Embiid is not.
This is the question with the Philly 76ers and the Joel Embiid fans of the world. Like, now he's on a minutes restriction. He's not playing back-to-backs. And what was, we were also impressed with him this year. There were no nights off. He was dropping 35, 15, and 5 every night. And now he's got to work his way back into it. There's not that much time before the playoffs start.
I imagine the next little bit for him now is purely fitness. Like, I don't care what he produces, just be fit by playoff time.
Yeah, I mean, even in his first game back, he didn't play that many minutes, but he still dominated the Timberwolves yesterday. Like, shot 15-plus free throws. He was a dominant force right off the bat again, but he didn't play his full minute load.
We didn't really get a new chapter in the Embiid Towns rivalry, did we? I mean, Towns box score. He really had a huge game, had 39 points, but
he was cooking.
Yeah, no wrestling. Yeah.
Well, there was 2 hard fouls by either of them, by both of them, Embiid grabbing Towns out of the air, and similarly Towns giving it back to him on the other end. You'd love to see this from Towns. I feel, like you don't feel like you get that edge out of him most of the year, and it's a good thing that Embiid brings it out of him, but you'd like to see that consistently from him, as he's kind of been labelled a little bit soft. Someone was saying they'd like to trade Jaylen Brown for Towns. I was like, you think this team's soft now? Try when you got Towns running the show in the middle. But yeah, Towns really, man, he is the most skilled offensively outside of Jokic. Like, this dude can just bomb away from 3 and just come at you in a variety of ways.
Well, I don't think it's any question who's really carrying their teams to greater statuses right now. It's Joel Embiid. But we were just saying how Rudy Gobert gets penalized for not being able to do things like dribble and shoot from more than 6-7 feet out. The contrary to that is Embiid almost, is he seen in a higher regard just because he can do those things, or is it purely the dominance? Like, if he stopped doing all of that and kept dominating his opponents in the post, would everyone still be as hot?
It's a difficult one because yeah, to an extent, like Rudy obviously still is a box score machine. Like he's not putting up 40-point games like Embiid is capable of doing, but you know Rudy can absolutely go get you 20 rebounds on any given night, and that's of course extremely important as well. Um, I yes and no. I don't know. It's tough, dude, because like, dude, if you're judging a basketball player and you're going to take their skill factor into consideration, right? And it's very like obviously Embiid is extremely skilled. He can put the ball in the hoop and he can do it himself, and he can also pass and he can lay the table for teammates. And then on the defensive end, he's also an incredible defender as well. So you know, Rudy doesn't have some of those aspects. So I don't know whether that's right or wrong that you're going to take points off him for that or give extra points, because I feel like that's kind of the way that you should judge basketball players as well.
Yeah, and like I think if you put Embiid on that Jazz team, I mean, forget about it. But defensively, Embiid I think's on the same level as Gobert. I wouldn't say that
Either
Gobert's
is
on a
much
different.
better than the other. Yeah.
Yeah, and Embiid, I feel like also when you talk about that edge, when you go at Embiid, it feels like you just go into a black hole sometimes. Man, and I was saying before, Anthony Edwards, man, he's been on a bit of a hot streak. But yeah, the Wolves kept it close with the Sixers yesterday. It was actually a pretty fun fourth quarter, and Edwards got a little bit ahead of himself, which I think is something you just got to love about him at this point. But just going right at the chest of Embiid, and there's this one play where he goes up to the right, round to the other side of the basket, and he thinks he's going to sneak it around, and Embiid's just wingspan reaches that other arm out and just knocks it off Edwards out of bounds. Sixers ball. And that was kind of the game right there. Like he's able to make those game altering plays on the defensive end. Yeah, and the Sixers have had one of the best defenses in the league for the entire period that he's been out as well. So
we can thank Ben for that. Maybe we should quickly chat about Ben, what it means for Joel coming back now. You would think while Joel was out, Ben was going to carry a heavier offensive load, but less said about that, the better.
We just need to accept that he's Draymond Green, and then they say that's a good thing, but he's just never going to be a guy that's going to get you 20 points consistently.
Except that he can. Do you remember that one game earlier this season where he went off of 45 or whatever it was?
Yeah. Against the deep boy, Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can't say he can't, because he can.
It's true.
I guess the issue is then, can he do it consistently and do it every night? And can you rely on that? Can you rely on him for 20 points every night? And that the answer to that is no, still, absolutely.
Well, thankfully, he doesn't really have to now, because Embiid will be back and he'll be demanding a lot of touches. So will Tobias Harris. Ben can kind of go back to the role that he's best in, just initiating the offense, running downhill, defending like his life depends on it. I think right now the Sixers are rounding into form, they're getting healthy, and they're a really big threat.
Man. The Sixers, I just don't trust them still. I don't know.
Yeah. I can't hate your distrust.
I got to see them get out of the second round for the first time in a couple decades, and then maybe we can talk. But I want to see them versus Brooklyn. I want to see how Brooklyn handles a Joel Embiid, because I don't know if they have the piece to slow him down. It might not matter because Brooklyn will just be on 130 a night once Durant's back. But if anyone can kind of match up with them, you've got Ben to throw on one of the big three scorers, and then Embiid just punishing whoever they throw out there, Blake Griffin, LaMarcus, Claxton, KD. It's just going to be a bloodbath.
Well, we were going to talk about Brooklyn and how
that's a segue, dude, for you.
Yeah. I'm the segue king. Look at this guy.
Learn from the best, man.
All right, well, I think we should kick off with the fact that LaMarcus Aldridge played his first couple of games for Brooklyn in the past few days, and they've all of a sudden gone from having no size at the 4 and 5 to having plenty of very skilled size at the 4 and 5. Does it matter? Like, as you said, is Joel just going to come in and smash them anyway? Or does someone like, because LaMarcus Aldridge played really well in that. These guys, LaMarcus and Blake Griffin, they only have to play, 8-minute spurts of good basketball, which they are so completely capable of. Is it going to just be a matter of there's so much here that it's impossible for the Nets not to win?
LaMarcus, man, I thought that he was definitely the better player of the two that went to the Nets, and
I reckon they're pretty like for like.
Yeah, I think LaMarcus was actually contributing more though over the past couple of years. Like,
yeah, true.
But and granted that was injuries for Blake, but and everybody freaked out about them getting Aldridge and stuff, and I thought it was a little bit overblown, but it just gives them another element, and he's just money in the post still. Like, even if he's going against Dwight Howard instead, he's just so crafty down there, and he's shooting.
I'll put it this way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go.
And he's shooting high 30% on threes too. So just another offensive weapon to this offensive buzzsaw. It's just a little bit ridiculous.
It's crazy to me that it is absolutely conceivable for Brooklyn in the playoffs to roll out a 5-man lineup of entirely all NBA players.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I don't look at it that way. Like, I know what you mean. It's very much an on-paper thing, though. But it's more so just the fact that, KD sits down on the bench, Harden sits down on the bench, and then you bring on Aldridge and Blake Griffin. And it's just like it's more from that aspect for me.
It's actually you that's swinging me here, Beatty. You've convinced me that talent always wins out, and they've got the most talent.
When did you ever not think that?
I used to think that. No, I still do think.
Mate, when he watches all the teams that are like the 15th seed and
he's like,
wonders why they're bad. Oh, when he could play it. That's probably why.
I don't wonder why they're bad. I think that a well-constructed team can beat a team that has a better player on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a terrible way of explaining it.
No, it makes sense, but it's
but the Nets have.
But the Nets have too much at this point. I can't. Like, how can you even the Lakers, like, LeBron and AD might not be enough to get past all of this. Kyrie, James Harden, Kevin Durant, and that's without mentioning their bench guys. Joe Harris, the best shooter in the world. It's scary.
Yeah, well, dude, he gets to shoot without people within 5 feet of him as well. It's crazy.
I think Philly is probably the one team in the East that I guess you're kind of pinning your hopes on them, right, as the only chance to try and stop this Nets juggernaut. I mean, I don't know. Like, I know we're probably a little bit down on Milwaukee as well, just off the last.
No, I was about to mention,
but I do think that any team with Giannis on it is. I mean, that surely there's something. Surely a series between those two teams, it's not going to be a Nets in 4, Nets in 5 scenario as well. Like. Maybe, but like I don't know. It's I kind of agree, Josh. I don't really. I think we're messaging during that Nets Hornets game. It's just like who's stopping this team? Like who's stopping this team? And it's even a fully healthy Lakers. I'm a bit worried about. I don't know. I still probably would take the Nets in 5.
But it's not a bad shout with Giannis because like Giannis is a player with a play style that no one on the Nets really combats, They may still have more firepower overall, but he will get his against them. No one's going to stop him.
Well, yeah, that's the kind of model, right? It's kind of those sort of second LeBron stint Cavs against the Warriors where LeBron's going to get his 40 or 50. It's whether or not the rest of the squad can kind of do what they need to do, hit the shots that they need to make to be able to sort of make up that difference.
I don't know. Still, give me the. I'm not sure the Lakers would win it, but that's going to be a tight series. Like, assuming LeBron and AD are back healthy, like, I don't think that the Nets have the personnel to slow down either of those guys defensively. And then you swing it around the other side. The Lakers still have one of the best defenses in the league, so I think that gives them a shot. You've got AD patrolling the paint out there. Hopefully, Drummond doesn't get too many minutes, but I think what's this like? It's just. so clear to me is just the buy-in is so important for these teams, and so everybody's so all in on the Nets that's on that team. And would I be surprised 2 years ago to find out that the team with the best vibes in the league is has a Kyrie Irving on the team? Yeah, I would be.
It really makes you question what they're doing in Boston. Like, why would someone not like the vibe there? I don't know.
I thought Kemba was all about the vibes, but same with the Sixers. Everybody's on the same page, and they're all in.
And the point you made about the Lakers, I mean, the Sixers are also one of the other. I think they are the best defensive, or one of the. So they're top five.
They're top
for sure.
five.
So I mean, that's kind of you're kind of
first.
hanging your hat on that coming through in the playoffs, and then whether or not it's going to be good enough, or whether or not the fact that the Nets can put out lineups where all five guys can go get a shot for themselves is going to just be too overpowering.
God damn it, man!
Just when you think that, we got through the Golden State, like, ruining basketball and stockpiling all the talent, and now it's just happened in Brooklyn.
I don't think it's that bad, thankfully. But it's getting a little bit like that. I don't know. And KD is not even playing.
The difference is one Draymond Green.
Yeah. I mean, KD's obviously the constant. Give me Steph over James. Give me Clay over Kyrie as well, just because, like, in that third role, give me the guy that can play defense. And then I guess you got the depoy on Golden State. So I still like that Warriors team more. Like, best team of all time, potentially. This Nets team still hasn't won anything, guys.
No, they haven't. Very true.
So let's see. I don't know. Do we worried about KD? He's, getting in the news again.
Mate, that was so dumb. Like,
he's got to turn his phone off, doesn't he?
Right.
What are you doing, man? What an idiot.
I mean,
Seriously.
Granted,
you're Kevin Durant. Why are you...
maybe post that stuff.
Maybe this is a well-known Knicks fan, Michael Rappaport's way of just trying to play some mind games and get in the head of his crosstown rival.
Oh, maybe.
Not a bad call.
But, like, KD's got to be better than that, man. If you're one of the greatest players of all time, don't slide into people's DMs having a go. Be above it. What do you care, man? What do you care? That's why I never understood about KD. Like, for someone that can do whatever he wants, like, why in the world did you sink to that level? If his barber was cracking shots at him, he'd crack his barber. Like, relax, Mate,
I'm just here for the Knicks Nets playoff series.
That would be awesome.
It would be awesome. Who'd have thunk it?
But I don't know. Like, are you guys kind of like easing the Nets into the villain role at the moment? I feel
people are definitely putting them in that role. I don't feel that way about them.
You don't feel that way? Yeah, I don't really hate them either. But like, I think they're the easiest team probably to if you had to hate a team. Yeah.
But like, everybody always hates who's at the top. Like everybody hated the Lakers last year, and
nobody hates Utah.
Everybody hates Utah. That's
nobody cares about
Nobody knows about Utah.
No one gives a shit about Utah. It's so true, man. Like, no one cares.
We're not out here picking Utah on NBA Jam.
No one, yeah. No one cares, man. They basically have to make the conference finals, otherwise, people are really never going to care.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, well, I think we had on our agenda that we were going to chat about Bulls and Magic today.
Let's do it. Yeah. What are your early thoughts, Josh? We were a few games into the Vucevic experience.
Yeah, I bring it up because we've only really won once.
I was going to say you snuck.
Magic, meanwhile, seem to have gotten better.
Yeah.
We'll preface this. I think the last time we recorded, I declared Chicago the winner of the trade deadline.
Yeah.
And I the record since has probably not suggested that. Obviously, it's still early days, but
it was never going to be something that just like clicked into place straight away. It's not like we were a good team. We got to learn to be a good team, but it helps having Vucevic and Daniel Tice, guys that have just come from better teams than us. If you gave me the trade again today, I'd still make it because like we have much more talent ready now on the team now. Even though it's not converting into immediate wins. Although it does sting that Wendell Carter, who I didn't want to let go of, is now on the Magic looking like the player I thought he would look like. He scored 17, got 12 rebounds yesterday, shot efficiently. He looks like a future anchor, which isn't ideal.
I just, upon reflection, I was kind of happy with the trade for you guys last week, but like they're just shooting for the 6th seed for the next 5 years. Feels like.
Well, they are and they aren't. Like there is a higher potential than that.
Like, where does that come from? There's Patrick Williams is the thing.
Patrick Williams is going to be a really good player. Kobe White's still got a curve to go. But even outside of that, like Bulls will get another draft pick this year. I don't know what they'll do with it, whether they trade it or whether they keep it.
Didn't they just trade it?
Oh, true. Yeah, of course. They just traded it to the Magic. But,
yeah.
But like, there's enough internal growth in here to become a 6th seed in of itself, and then a couple of moves, a couple of pieces swung here or there, and who knows? I like this new GM, Karnivasovas.
Mm-hmm.
He we never would have swung for this move in the first place with the old hierarchy, whatever you want to call it. So I'm pretty confident this guy's got another move in him somewhere. We just got to figure out what we need, when's the right time to do it, who's available. But I'm keen. I'm keen for this new era of the Bulls.
I think this is probably the quickest backflip I've ever done on a take in the history. History of I think it's 1 week. When did we record last? Was it? Yeah. I think you're really pinning your hopes on Zach LaVine, and I just don't know if Zach LaVine is the number one guy. And I kind of agree with Josh. With Jake. I just don't really know where's that next move. How are they going to get? I don't think there's enough growth in the guys that you said, Kobe White, and I mean Patrick Williams. He looks nice, but
he's only a first-year player, man. He's got ways to go.
Look at the top end of the East right now. You've got 3 teams who are infinitively better than the Bulls, and I just don't see how you kind of. The team is what it is, and then you're just hoping on that sort of internal development. And I don't know.
But this is the bed we made. If we made this bed, we have to lie in it now. Because otherwise, the other option was tear it all down again, let Zach go, get new draft picks, and just reset. But we just did that.
You could have signed Zach still, but now and kept the other assets and built with Zach. Plus the assets, I don't know. Patrick Williams is your only. Right now it seems like the only way that you turn into a contender.
We've still got Lauri Markkanen. He's not gone yet. Whether there's a player there or not, I don't know.
Yeah,
I definitely used to think so. So there is one somewhere. I do miss already Hutchinson and Gafford, who we sent to the Wizards.
Yeah.
They're just bit part rotational guys, but they were young, they're athletic, they ran up and down the court, and Russ is getting the best out of them right now over in Washington. We've got Tyson Vooch now. We've gone the skill route. It sounds like this guy who came from the Nuggets wants to turn us into the Nuggets, and if that's his plan, let's see what he can do. It's better than what we were doing before.
Fair enough. I just wonder if that is going to be in the muck of mediocrity for the
probably
extended future. Like Zach LaVine's going to pay him the max. Kind of have no choice. There's a world where he might make All NBA, and you're paying him the super max at the end of the season, which would be.
Hey, but if he's making All NBA, then pay him. That's fine.
Yeah, but this is the problem with the All NBA thing. You're going to end up with a John Wall contract because even if you make 3rd team All NBA, you're eligible. Even when in reality, it should be probably. Just
first,
probably just first, and maybe second. But like Blake Griffin, even without the injury,
I don't quite put Zach in the same pool as those guys. Like Zach's still very young, and he's
so was John
athletic.
Wall though.
Yeah,
Granted, he got destroyed by injuries. Yeah. And it could be fine, but like, how many guys on the Supermaxes are of value to their team? It's even Dame, you wonder if it's worth it. It is.
Oh, no, it's definitely
worth it, obviously. But it's so much of your cap.
Look, I hear you. I hear the criticism. I hear the we're aiming for mediocrity thing. I hear you. But frankly, I don't know what else we could have done.
Look, I watched an episode of The Last Dance last night, and I was like, "This is not the Bulls of the old days." Yeah, episode 9, the Reggie Miller episode, the Pacers series. Yeah, and Zach LaVine's got a little bit of magic in him. I was wondering if they hit the acceleration button a little bit too quickly.
Very hard to say. Very hard. Of course,
it's very easy.
The other side to all this is, and we were speaking about this off mic earlier, there's no evidence that these young players that we traded away would have developed how they're developing now if they stayed with us. Like, you kind of need that veteran presence to help them develop. And if they're the only ones here and there is no veteran presence, then they kind of
Thad Young, man.
Yeah, no, Thad Young's been great. But, like, Wendell Carter in just the past past couple of weeks has been showing flashes with the magic that I'd been dying to see from him at the Bulls. So, sometimes it's just the way the cookie crumbles. I'm happy. We got Vucevic. Right. When he's scoring 30 and 10 and getting 6 assists and we're winning games, we can revisit this.
As long as you're happy, Josh, then that's all that matters, I think.
Thanks, fellas.
I don't know, the flip side of that trade as well, right? Like, Orlando are really sort of happy to be down the bottom now. Yeah, right? Like, shipping out Gordon, shipping out Vucevic.
Well, I kind of mentioned it last week. They've got Markelle Fultz and Jonathan Isaac injured at the moment, and they're both scheduled to come back next year. So they're just going to rip the walls down, get another young guy in there. They've got Wendell Carter as well now. They made
Cole
a couple
Anthony
other
was
trades.
Pretty good. Cole Anthony
so like they can come back next year and still be pretty good. It seems like Steve Clifford runs a real system there where even if a bench guy needs to fill in, he does his job and does it well. So,
dude, this Okiki guy looks awesome as well.
He's good.
What the hell? He seems like your kind of guy, Josh.
Yeah, he is. I've noticed him already.
He's going to be on a 25-win team for the next 2 years, and you're going to be the first. Like, you'll be talking about him, and then he's going to get into the playoffs, and we're never going to hear you speak about him again.
No, that's not true.
You know what? I know we were going to talk about the Hawks this week, but let's see if they can be good for one more week.
Yeah. We'll just preface that we're encouraged by their recent development.
Yeah, they've been good. They played a double OT game this weekend against the Spurs. And man, they shouldn't have gone to OT. They just pooped all over themselves in the last 90 seconds. And eventually they got the W. But yeah, bummer to see John Collins go down for a bit. Bummer to see Gordon Hayward now go down. The Hornets, that's not good for them to lose 2 of their 5 or 6 best players as we go into this home stretch here.
Just quickly on the Hawks, Nate McMillan fan. That's all. Where's Indiana at right now?
They have free falling.
Yeah,
they got an overtime win against the Spurs as well yesterday. Actually,
TJ McConnell, the point guard.
Well, Brogdon's out, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Everybody has been loving to make fun of the Celtics for not going for the Miles Turner trade that may or may not have been real, but the Pacers still want to trade him because the fit's not right, and no one wants to trade for Miles Turner. So,
I think they're just asking too much. I think there's a lot of teams that would take him, but if it's going to cost you half your young assets, then forget that. We'll just go with what we got, which I'm sure was the case with the Celtics. Maybe in the Feeler conversations, they were like, we want Time Lord.
Keep running the Rob Celtics train. That's it.
Yeah,
dude.
100%.
Well, 5 games as a starter. 12 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 2.5 blocks, shooting over 70% from the field. I mean, look, he's the second best passer on the team. It's actually
and that's the thing I wasn't expecting.
Oh, he's so good at passing.
I kind of did expect him to eventually become this athletic monster that can put the ball back and rebound and get blocks. But I never thought he would be dishing out 5 assists a game.
No, he's turned into the guy that gets the offense moving now. almost single-handedly unlocked Fournier against the Rockets the other day. No, he's always been a good passer, but he's now that he's getting the minutes, man, I'm getting myself a Time Lord jersey in the next.
Are you feeling a bit more encouraged, Jake, with Fournier and Smart coming back and Time Lord showing he's legit? Is there something here?
Yeah, there's something here. They just need to get more consistent. I don't know. As I said, they're not winning the title this year no matter what. Like, this was always supposed to be kind of a development year. They've just underachieved even from there. But
I think honestly, if Time Lord is the development of this year, then they've done fine.
Yeah, I agree.
He looks like a monster.
And guess what? Guess who was back today? Romeo Langford. Romeo. Wear out that Romeo. He blocked Miles Bridges at the rim. So that's no easy feat.
No.
No, dude. I mean, he's better than Shemi and Aaron Nesmith. So another 6'6" super long wing that can play defense kind of gets the Celtics back to the way they like to play on that end. So I don't know. We'll see. They got a couple of tough games coming. They play the Sixers on Wednesday and then back to back with the Knicks. So
very keen to see how Time Lord goes 1-on-1 with Joel Embiid.
Yeah, that's actually pretty fun. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, fellas. Well, that's pretty much all I've got to talk about this week.
Yeah,
do you have any closing thoughts?
No, got my Time Lord take in, so good to go.
We're all happy.
I'm just I'm waiting for Utah to clinch that 1 seed, clinch that. It's just they're just humming along.
Doesn't look like it'll be too long.
No, and then they'll get to play the Lakers in the first round, and then they'll be out.
Pending health.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, you've been tuned into Backdoor Cut. My name is Josh DiMatteo, here with Jake Eisenberg and Matt Beatty. Until next week, peace.